What's up, family? Hope everybody had a great weekend, man. I'm coming to y'all with another video. This one is another river spot, man. I wanted to show you guys that I took with my tour guide. It's about hour, a little over an hour from where I actually live in Sosua. It's between Plata and Santiago, as you can see on the map. And man, like I said, every time we go to one of these rivers, one of the best parts of it is actually getting there, man. Look at the views, man, that you get driving out to this spot. It is a nice ride out. We picked a great day. Sunday was beautiful. Wasn't even a holiday, and this place was packed, according to Lewis. But it's so stretched out that you can find spots where you're there by yourself. You can find spots where it's quite a few people, not that many people. There's music, there's food. It's just a great place, man. And like I said, man, just to drive, trying to get there from Sosua is a nice drive, man. It was kind of warm. I think this is probably one of the warmest Mays they've had in a while, from talking to a couple of the guys here. But it was kind of a warm drive because we were on four-wheelers and motorbikes, so no overhead cover, so we were getting the sun on us and just riding. It wasn't any shade or any clouds, overcast day, so we got the brunt of the sun going out. But we started out pretty early in the morning, so it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. I complained about it probably going back in my mind, like, Jesus, after being in that water all day, man, and that heat banging on me. And I didn't really eat that good while we were out here. I was so into the activities, because you'll see once we get into the videos of the actual river, that it is a lot to do, you know. Not to mention just people watching, meeting people and talking to people. It was a pretty good day, man. I'm telling you, man. Every time I go out here, I always meet somebody or a group of people that are just so nice, man, so nice. And every now and then you get one that speaks very fluent English. Like I said, I go out here with Louis. He is my translator, so if I do get in front of somebody and I can't speak English good, I mean, they can't speak English good, or I can barely speak a little Spanish, man. I speak the bare minimum. I'm telling you, the bare minimum. I rely heavily on a translator, and I hate it. I'm going to start taking me some classes here soon. I speak enough to greet people, know how to ask for what I want, and like I said, just the basics. But like I said, when I'm out here with my boy Luis, and he translates everything. But like I said, the drive up, man, just look at the views, man. You go up from Sosua, and once you're getting close to Puerto Plata, you make a left from Highway 5 onto Highway 25, which is the highway that takes you into Santiago, which is a landlocked city. There's no water, there's no beaches or rivers in Santiago, so most of the people from Santiago come here. And this is the entrance of the place right here. It is Rio Sonador. Don't get me to pronouncing it wrong, but you can read the sign there. So it's a river, like I said, between Puerto Plata and Santiago. This is the entrance. And coming up here is the drive down from the entrance, which is a pretty dirty, dusty road. I make sure that most of the people that we take out, you know, we try to get them to wear bandanas. A lot of people don't like tying that on their face, but I'm telling you, it saves you. You don't feel it that first day, but that next morning when you get up, if you out here in this dust, man, you feel it. So I tell everybody that before we get started, and make sure they get a scarf or something and tie around their face. But most of this ride was pretty much paved roads until you started getting real close to the river. And once you get close, it's all dirt roads for another, I'd say a good mile and a half, getting down to the river from the top of the hill up here, from where you pay to go in. And this was one of the only rivers that we've been to that actually made you pay. And from talking to Lewis, the reason they made us pay that is because the land that is right beside the river is owned by a private citizen of the Dominican Republic. So he charges you basically just to park. And I understand why he charges, because it's a lot of trash and stuff people leave out, that they have to come and pick up. They clean up a lot behind you. Just maintaining the area, the parking area, and I guess the area around the river or the banks of the river, those guys keep it very, very, very clean. And you'll see when you see all these people, because actually when we pulled up in the parking lot, it wasn't that crowded. It had a couple of motorcycles here, a couple of buses, and a few cars. But when we left, man, the parking lot was packed. This whole area right here that we're passing now was lined with cars all the way back up almost to the top. And it was kind of hard getting out, even though we were on bikes and four-wheelers. Cars are parked on both sides. And you can see this is the main parking lot right here. And it didn't have hardly any cars. I think we pulled up. We left the house about 10:30, so we got there about 11:45-ish, somewhere around in there. So it hadn't really started getting packed yet. And like I said, most of these people are coming from Santiago and Puerto, Plata. Most of the people in Sonador go to the other rivers that I've shown you guys before. But this is one that's, like I said, it's probably maybe another, I think it was, the last sign I saw before we made that left on I-25 was, I think it said like 31 more miles to Santiago. So it's real close to Santiago. But as you can see, once we got here, there's about 8, 9 bikes there. People were just getting started. The restaurant was just cranking up. You could smell the grill getting crunk up. But it wasn't that many people here yet. So, I got front row right there. I was able to pull up and park. And you could hear the river from here, which was kind of cool because you can't really see it. But you can start hearing the people and the running water and stuff like that. And what was a surprise to me was the amount of waterfalls, little small waterfalls that were on this stretch of the river. Because I guess once we got on right here, when we walked down to the bottom here, we walked up the river probably about I'd say a quarter mile to a half a mile before we got to a little spot where we settled. And the spot where we settled was just, man, amazing, dude. I'm telling you, it was just nice. But you'll see, you can't really see anything here, but once you get down off in here, man, it's people lining the banks of this river, like I said, for a quarter mile to a half a mile up. And, with some spurts where there's no people, some spots where there's a lot of people, some spots where just a few people. But this is now, I'll say, man, this is my favorite river spot now, man, because you can stretch out, you can get away from the people. It's not as much music as the other spots, because the other spots, man, you could pull your car up right next to the river. And when I tell you, when these folk pull up their car, they taking out speaker boxes out the trunk. Some of them got speaker boxes already tied to the roof of their cars, and they got it going full blast. Here it wasn't like that because you can't get your car down here. So you'd have to pick a speaker up, have some type of power source to be able to run the speaker. If you're gonna have one of those loudspeakers like they usually play at the other rivers. And it's just not feasible in this area right here because maneuvering along this riverbank, they got some carved out trails for you, but man, they're not the easiest trails to maneuver. And this is not a place you can bring somebody that's in a wheelchair unless you're planning on carrying them the whole way. Even somebody with some limited walking abilities, I wouldn't bring them here, man. It is definitely not, what is it called, ADHA accessible or handicap accessible, man. It's just, like I said, they carved out paths with, natural trails and man-made trails for, like I said, quarter a mile to half a mile up. And it's just hard getting around. Even with my 2 good legs, I was having a problem in some of the spots. You got to get in the water and walk through the water. And what was cool was even on a day like today, the day that we went, it had rained pretty hard a couple of days before. So they were telling me that the river was pretty high. And even with it being high, there were some spots that didn't even come up to your knees, so you could pretty much walk up the whole river. You know, you would get to little spots where there were like little waterfalls like this one here that you might have a hard time, and you'd have to get up on the bank on the side and then walk along the bank. But for the most part, you could just walk up the river. You know, it was that cool. And this river is usually just as blue and pretty as the other rivers. But when we got up to the restaurant, the guy was saying it just rained so hard that, you know, it just had a lot of stuff in the water. But once, you know, he said after a couple of days, it'll calm down and it'll be just back crystal clear. And in the very shallow parts, you can tell it's clear. I think at the end of the video, I ran a little part where you see me sitting with my feet in the water, and you can, you know, the water's running over my feet and you can still see your toes, you know. I don't know one river in America that I've been to that you can see, you know, below the surface. But yeah, man, and it was people all throughout this thing. And like I said, just small gems along the way, little waterfalls, little caves off to the side. Like I said, walking along the bank was an adventure. Like I said, and it tests your balance for sure. You know, you got to be grabbing trees and you know, a couple of vines or whatever to kind of pull you along when you're walking along the bank. But for the most part, we walked up the river, and you can see here, man, people are in it, you know, ankle deep, knee deep. You know, some spots you might get up to even waist deep. Right around the waterfalls are some spots that are a little bit deeper where you can go where the water's over your head, but you go another 4 or 5 feet either way, and you're somewhere where you can stand up. But man, this place was nice, man. I'm talking about nice, peaceful. You know, you did have some music going from some of the smaller speakers. You know, people that brought their little battery-operated speakers. You know, it had some music on the side, but it was nothing like River Azul, and I can't think of the river up in Hamao, the name of that one, but it was a lot more peaceful here. A lot more things to do in the water here, because these waterfalls, man, were just magnificent. You could slide off that rock, you could dive in off that rock. Just walking across the rock was fun to me, keeping my balance. Because you can see these dudes are kind of heavy. That water wasn't pushing them, man. I weigh about 152. So that current was kind of rough for me, man. I had to make sure I got to a spot where my footing was pretty good to not get swept down within the river here. But man, it is nice, nice, nice. And that's one of the smaller waterfalls right there. The one that Lewis, that's the tour guide right there, man. When you're ready to go, just let me know. I think I put a commercial up. Yeah, I posted a commercial up before this video. So just hit my dude up, man. This dude knows everywhere in this North Coast, man. And he'll get you out here, man. And like I said, I'll be with you too, because I go every tour he goes, because I just like going. You know what I'm saying? I don't have nothing to do pretty much on the weekend, so all the weekend tours I go with him. I think most of the weekdays, you know, he'll do by himself, but most of the weekends I go with him. And food is everywhere up and down this little riverbank, man. We got little places like this carved out. This is one of the bigger spots though. And these ladies were throwing down. And what was crazy to me, I was like, man, the whole grill, the fire pit is made out of wood. Why isn't it, you know, the whole thing isn't catching on fire? But they have so much ash packed on top of this wood that the fire just stays right where they want it. And they, you know, man, they had rice and beans, chicken, pork, salad, you know, drinks, beers, whatever you want. There's a little house down to the right. I don't think I caught it in the video, on that video, but it has all the cold beers, real cold water, whatever you need, you know, for a beverage. But man, this place is amazing. And this is where we walked all the way up to, and we stopped, and then we went back. You can keep going, but we stopped right here because this was where a lot of people were gathered, and we just sat there and ate a little bit of lunch, and kind of people watched. But right there under that waterfall, man, let me tell you, it is the coolest shit. You can stand up under that waterfall and not get wet. Once you go up under there, the rocks come out so far that you can stand up under there. And then what's crazier too is there's like a little crack in one of the rocks. Well, not really little, because the big dudes are swimming through it. You can swim through it, and then there's a cave where you can go in and stand up. I was like, man, this is wow. So we sat there and chilled for a little bit. Like I said, ate something. That's Lewis going back down. I was getting ready to come back down too. I told him let me shoot a little quick video before I go back down. But people are all over this spot. And if you really look, you can see up under the waterfall, there's actually people standing up under there just talking and chilling, chit-chatting. You get a little bit of mist on you. I got up under there. I couldn't take the camera because I didn't want to get my phone wet. But you can stand up under there and chit-chat and laugh. And it's a little bit of mist that comes up under it, but you're not getting soaked, what you would think up under that waterfall. And like I said, if you're bold enough to swim through the little crack, because you got to have a little faith to swim through that crack, because you can't see the cave until you swim through that hole. And then once you get through the hole, you're like, oh, okay, there's a big opening here. But that was cool, man. And then the way they naturally made that restaurant into the side of the hill there was just amazing to me, man. Some of their engineering feats down here just amazed me. I'm like, man, how is that thing standing? But it's strong, man. I'm talking about they really put it together. There's that grill again, man. All wood. They had, when I first came up here, they had like 4 pots going, something else on the back going. I was like, dang, why does that thing not catch fire? And then when I started talking to the lady, she was telling me, first we pack it with a lot of ash, and then we put on wood on top of that ash, and it doesn't catch the rest of the fire. But you can see, man, this water is crystal clear. And it's like this pretty much every river. Now, I've seen some dirty rivers here. The ones that run right through the cities, you know, right through the middle of Sosua, or right through the middle of, well, not really the middle of Puerto Plata. There's one that runs behind Puerto Plata. They get kind of dirty because I don't know if they're dumping sewage or what they're dumping in. It couldn't be sewage because it doesn't smell, but you could tell it's a lot of inland runoff that probably makes those rivers dirty. But these that are out here in the natural, man, they are all beautiful like this, man. And like I said, this day they were saying that it was running pretty hard because it had rained a while. But on the normal, it's not this rough. It's not, and you see the ladies are having a hard time getting across. But it's still not enough to sweep you away. And if you do get swept down, you're getting swept down to a spot that's only about 3 feet, 4 feet deep. So you can jump back up real quick if you can't swim. You know, I haven't heard of anybody out here drowning or anything. But yeah, this is my new favorite river spot now. River Sonador. Look it up, man. I don't know. Hit Google and let them pronounce it for you. But yeah, it's nice, man. And these little bridges that go across the river, all natural wood, man-made bridges across that are just amazing feats of engineering, if you ask me, because it's just, you know, I'm used to concrete bridges and steel across our rivers in America. So walking across some of this stuff was just like, okay, is it gonna hold up? And it's just as sturdy as anything else. So, you know, it works. So, but it was fun, man, to come out here and see another river spot and hang with my boy Lewis on a good Sunday and chill. The people were amazing. I actually met 2 ladies from Miami, and we actually chopped it up for a while and, you know, talked about our experiences. But this is one of the good spots, man, you got to come and check out, man, when you come to the north coast of the DR, man, because, man, it is just amazing. And when I tell you, it's not very diverse out here, 100% Dominicans, 100% Dominicans. You are hard-pressed to see anybody else out here. So to have somebody to bring me out here, I felt very, very, very privileged. And I really enjoyed myself the whole day. I probably sat here for about 45 minutes just letting the water run over my feet and people watching. But come on down, man. Book your tour, man, with my boy Luis, man. You will not regret it. It's super cheap. You know, what's 20 bucks, man? 20 bucks to get somebody to take you out here where you know you safe and sound, and if anything happens to you, he got your back, and he got people that's got your back. So hit him up, man. Peace.